What is your opinion on Aimee Challenor? I know her father is a violent pedophile with a diaper fetish. I know her husband is a pedophile with a diaper fetish. I know she has a diaper fetish. I know she moderates stuff for young people. My opinion is she shouldn't work here, or with children. A PR nightmare that no company should hire if they don't want to get their sponsorship, advertising relationships pulled for public outrage. WTF RedditJar team, were you seriously too lazy to do a background check? I believe you shouldn't be punished for the sins of your father. Unless, maybe you chose to continue to support them and even employed them after they raped a child, and you shouldn't be punished for your partner's tweets defending their production of material that sexualized minors. Unless, you then marry them and fail to denounce what they said. I would think that even if you've never been convicted of being a pedophile yourself, your non-apologism should probably disqualify you from jobs like social media moderator. Edit, it's been brought to my attention that apparently she denounced it and said her partner's account had been hacked. Going to Google it now, but got to be transparent since this comment seems quite visible. Edit 2. The tweets that were purported to appear on my partner's account were not his thoughts or opinions. He deleted the tweets as soon as he could. Because they are under investigation, I cannot comment too much on him. Doesn't seem like much of a denunciation to me. Aimee Challenor is, or at least at one point was, a public political figure. Reddit has no business protecting her from so-called doxing in the form of removing all articles discussing the issues she has previously been involved in. That is not what doxing is. If that's the case, no articles can be shared around criminal court cases. It's an embarrassment that it's gone this far in deleting posts and banning users. As a member of the LGBTQ community and a CSA victim, fuck Aimee Challenor, removed her ass. I just cancelled my Reddit Premium and re-enabled Adblock. They aren't going to make money off me while they employ this clown. It's not much, but if enough people vote with their wallets, it can hurt them more than keeping her helps them. Around 6 years ago, a user named Thar Unadan was publicly shamed by Reddit admins for using 5 valid accounts to upvote his own posts. Let's see how it goes this time around. Edit, his posts are mostly remembered for being random but accurate facts about biology. 6 years from a self-upvoting biologist to a full-blown pedo-political crisis. Nice drama game, Reddit. I will be brutally honest here, but as a person living in the UK, I can say that I think she is an awful, disgusting human being that clearly is not only attracted to, but has also tried to protect people who have nefarious interests in children. Not gonna say the word just in case, and I have lost a lot of respect for Reddit for hiring a prospectless, unqualified individual who weaponizes transphobia and uses it to try to shame people if she doesn't get her way. Everything I have said can be backed up by a Google search, and this is all my opinion. I don't in any way condone harassment of her, as she is a human who deserves the same basic treatment as everyone else. However, she absolutely should not be put in a position of power, especially on one of the last platforms to have anything close to free speech. This is going to end badly for all parties involved, other than her, and is irresponsible on Reddit's end. In the very least, she is going to leave this platform, sooner or later, and she is most likely going to claim it is due to transphobia, to save face and hide her own incompetence, regardless of whether she actually experiences any. I'm sorry if I seem too angry, but it's people like her who bring hate to the LGBTQ+ community and cause hurtful stereotypes to be born. I will never have respect for people who use their sexuality, gender as a weapon, because it almost always ends up in more xenophobia, which then further makes LGBTQ+ people's lives more miserable. She defends pedophiles, which is wrong and should not be allowed. Hopefully she gets dismissed from her job at Reddit because defending somebody that has ruined a child's life is wrong in every way. Edit. I am proud of this community for speaking out. To all Redditors who spoke out in protest, thank you. Either fucking with kids, or supporting that shit needs to be banned from social media platforms, not only because it's a horrific thing to do, but also because banning such deeply concerning issues protect the victims of those crimes. Imagine being a victim of that gross thing and seeing how a social media platforms not only hire as one of this pedophile supporter but also defend and ban any mention of it. How would you feel if that's the case? Reddit needs to apologize and take measures. Aimee Challenor is a shit stain on the LGBTQ+ community, of which I am a member, and no amount of screaming about transphobia is going to convince me that she should ever be allowed to run for office, or that she has a place as a Reddit exec. The Green Party was right to drop her, and I am sickened that she dared try to play a discrimination card after being caught defending pedophilia in 2 separate instances. What a disgusting human. They need to address the issue. The issue is not that she's trans, it's not that she's British, it's not that she's a politician. This issue is that she hired her father on her campaign after he had been arrested and charged with kidnapping, torturing, and raping a 10-year-old girl. It's that she's married to a man who admits to reading, looking at child pornography. You can try to justify reading about fictional children having sex until you're blue in the face, saying they are fictional characters and it hurts no one, but you'd still be wrong. She was investigated and thrown out of 2 political parties for these issues. She surrounds herself with pedophiles. She should not be an administrator or even a moderator on a website with millions of underage people. The fact that she used to moderate teenage subreddits is frightening. The administrators of Reddit are public-facing people. They interact with the community, they say who and what gets banned. They talk to the press. We know who all of them are. Why hire someone with such issues, not just in her past, but in her present? The fact that people who type out her name or even link to innocuous articles that mention her name once are being banned from the site is appalling. Using the name of a public figure, posting articles about public figures, talking about public figures, etc. should be allowed. Public figures do have a right to privacy, but not in the aspects of their lives that are public knowledge. It's one thing to protect her private address or private contact information, or who else she's related to, etc. However, if she's mentioned in a news article, if she's mentioned in her capacity as a moderator or administrator on Reddit, if she's criticized for issues that are public knowledge, outside of hate speech of a protected class, name-calling, etc., of course, etc., that's fair game, and no one should be banned for it. For the record, we know it wasn't a bot, because a bot would have caught that link right away, and not let it sit for several hours before deleting it, and not just suspending but banning the user who posted it. Reddit needs to answer us. Why are you protecting her? Why are you banning people who criticize her or even just name her? Why did you hire someone who is known to be close with and have no problem with 2 known pedophiles? One of them a violent offender, of the extreme it was so bad you don't even want to know what he did kind. Why, even if you do believe that everyone deserves a chance at redemption, are you letting her be in a public-facing position? Why have her in a position that allows her access to the private information of millions of underage users? Why allow her to decide who stays, who goes, what rules to abide by, and what constitutes a problem severe enough for the admins to get involved? We want answers to these questions. Wait, do you mean the Aimee Challenor that has absolutely no problems with pedophilia and the Aimee Challenor that married a pedophile? Is that the same Aimee Challenor that is removing posts about her because she doesn't like criticism? Keep in mind that's Aimee with 2 ES. I can imagine how Aimee Challenor wouldn't want the name Aimee Challenor plastered all over Reddit, but what Aimee Challenor doesn't seem to understand is that removing all posts referencing the name Aimee Challenor only leads to more people asking about what's the matter with Aimee Challenor, which would not be beneficial to Aimee Challenor because it turns out Aimee Challenor is married to a pedophile. I don't like people who rape children. Aimee Challenor apologizes with people who rape children, therefore I don't like Aimee Challenor. At best, she's a pedophile enabler. At worst, she's complicit in the heinous sexual and physical abuse of a 10-year-old girl. Either way, she's not fit to work anywhere, especially not for one of the largest messaging platforms on the internet. Out of all the blunders Reddit has made over the years, hiring her has to be the largest of them all. I have no idea why they'd hire such a person on knowing the absolute PR shitstorm they could face. And I hope she's fired as soon as possible. Edit: I think Reddit admins tried to reset my karma for this post. Image proof. Edit 2. She got fired. We actually did it. It was probably because she was the one who messed with my imaginary internet points. Man, how does Reddit not know what Reddit does? The mass cooperation between people does everything here. We fight unjust trust funds, save gorillas, identify hit-and-run vehicles, fix my dryer, talk to fucking Rick Astley, but more importantly collectively all get really pissed off and use that collective force mostly for good. How can they think taking the action they took, attempting to hide it, then nearly blatantly covering that up, would not infuriate the entirety that is its fucking user base? Did no one tell Reddit what Reddit can do? That's a shame. Cancel culture is toxic. Firing her was not the problem. Hiring her was the problem. Placing an auto-ban on her name on March 9th, which means that the Reddit staff knew her pedophile enabling background for weeks, is the biggest problem ever. To recap, Reddit hired a public figure they knew was a pedophile enabler. If you're naive enough to think they never bothered to Google her name, I have a bridge to sell you. And then put auto bans for anyone mentioning her name ever. No, seriously, what did Reddit ever hope to gain for hiring someone as her? They might as well hire serial rapist Bill Cosby next. Not good. I've heard Aimee Challenor is a pedophile supporter. That's Aimee Challenor spelled A-I-M-E-E-C-H-A-L-L-E-N-O-R. I could never have a good opinion of someone who allegedly supports and encourages pedophilia. Why the hell would Reddit employ an alleged pedophile supporter such as Aimee Challenor? I've also heard her partner is a pedophile as well, who's literally tweeted about having sexual fantasies involving children. I'm quite certain nobody's opinion of Aimee Challenor or a company that hired her could be good. Edit: I'll miss Reddit if I'm banned, but maybe now is the time to stop supporting a company who would want this kind of person on their payroll. It's very disturbing. Aimee, if you are reading this, you should be jailed, maybe forever, not be allowed to roam the earth and not be able to control one of the biggest websites. Imagine how many kids she has planned to manipulate so that her father and husband can rape, kidnap, sexually exploit. Reddit, this is disgusting. You not only made a mistake of hiring a child rapist, you also tried to cover for Aimee by trying to block everyone and anyone that uttered her name. What if a child was trying to ask for help because she was tiring to sexually manipulate them through her powers at Reddit? Hopefully, no child has been hurt by this child rapist supporters and her child rapist family. Wait, do you mean the Aimee Challenor that has absolutely no problems with pedophilia and the Aimee Challenor that married a pedophile? Is that the same Aimee Challenor that is removing posts about her because she doesn't like criticism? Keep in mind that's Aimee with 2 E's. I can imagine how Aimee Challenor wouldn't want the name Aimee Challenor plastered all over Reddit, but what Aimee Challenor doesn't seem to understand is that removing all posts referencing the name Aimee Challenor only leads to more people asking about what's the matter with Aimee Challenor, which would not be beneficial to Aimee Challenor because it turns out Aimee Challenor is married to a pedophile. I don't like people who rape children. Aimee Challenor apologizes with people who rape children, therefore I don't like Aimee Challenor. Fuck it, I don't care if I am banned. Answer. For those who don't want to visit the links, Reddit recently hired a new admin, Aimee Challenor, a transgender woman who had previously been a politician in the UK. Aimee is publicly tied to 2 different instances of supporting pedophiles. The first, her father raped and abused a child in the house Aimee was living in, after being arrested and charged for the crime. But before being tried and sentenced, Aimee hired her father to be her campaign manager for elections with the Green Party, and gave a false name to the party on the paperwork. When this was found out, she claimed ignorance of the extent of his crimes, and was removed from the party for safeguarding failures. The second, her husband is an open pedophile, who posts erotic fiction about children. Aimee had joined the Lib Dem party, and was removed when her husband tweeted that he fantasized about children having sex. Sometimes with adults, sometimes kidnapped and forced into bad situations. Both Aimee and her husband claimed that the Twitter account was hacked at that time, stolen from Reddit user Communism. This is out. Comment now, comrade. I am horrified to know that RedditJar knowing hired a known pedophile supporter. The fact that they quite literally censor anything posted to Reddit with their name in it, including an innocuous political article posted to a political sub which only mentioned the name in passing, is beyond abhorrent. I will be sad if I have leave Reddit after all this time, but I refuse to support any company that shelters pedophiles or pedophile supports. To hire them and not know is one thing, but to find out and then actively censor the facts is another. She gives a bad name to the LGBTQ+ community by actively embodying a lot of the false rumors that have been used to justify hate towards LGBTQ+ people, and thus undermining a lot of the work done by LGBTQ+ activists to stop the spread of hate. By royally effing up and hiring her, Reddit is probably going to set everyone back a few years in building trust and building bridges. Reminder that Aimee Challenor's father is a child-raping, child-torturing pedophile who would dress up an adult baby and electrically shock the victim in a torture attic. Aimee Challenor lived in the house and claims she didn't know everything. Aimee Challenor not once distanced herself from any of this, and in fact has and continues to show support for the perpetrator. Aimee Challenor harassed the victim over Facebook. Furthermore, Aimee Challenor is married to a pedophile who openly posts pedo fanfics. All of this is public record. Pedophile apologists, admins and mods can go fuck themselves. My opinion is that this is just another instance of allowing a pedophile monster to get away with stuff because they're trans. Makes me more suspicious about the trans activism. Trans people are fine, no issues. Just this craze of activism seems shady to me. I think Reddit was trying to gauge how far this wokeness has gone and if they could get away with normalization of pedophilia on large scale. Thank God it backfired. If it's true that she defended her father, rather than separating herself from him after he committed atrocities, I think that she's a very dubious hire. I wish that the people who are most loudly outraged about it weren't also so outspokenly anti-transgender. The vibe I'm getting from the discussions I'm seeing is not so much, this specific hire was not a very good one, and more, see, all trans people are pedophiles. Here, have some bonus slurs. That makes me uncomfortable, but it also makes me want to double, triple, and quadruple check the facts in the situation. The thing is, if Reddit doesn't lose anything, they're never gonna fire her. I mean, if the only consequence is protesting and denouncing, but no one leaves, or any sponsor quit, is just a matter of hold steady and silent for a little while, until everyone drop the issue. In my experience, The only thing that really hurts them is losing money. This is one of the darkest days for Reddit, hiring a horrible person who aided their father, who has 22 allegations of sexual abuse of minors, including some horrifically detailed acts that are openly within the public domain. Good luck to any of those victims who were hoping their trauma wasn't going to be publicly reopened on a massive scale. Then Reddit deletes and bans anything and anyone who brings this to the public attention, and they do it under the guise of protecting their new employee from harassment and doxing. However, the doxing was only posting public news articles that had some information, and now, due to the massive stress and effect that comes from wrongly silencing people, here we are. It's today's top story, and everyone now knows exactly what went down.